Hello, I'm Ollie and this is CriminOlly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, my January TBR. So this is going to be all the books I plan to read in January. And there's quite a lot of books here, so I genuinely don't know if I'm going to get through all of them, but I hope to. The reason there's a lot of books is that I'm taking part in a YouTube event, TBRathon, in January. So this is created by the YouTube channel Leandra the TBR Zero. Leandra very kindly asked me to be part of it. So my part in it was being part of her booktuber recommendations bingo card. So my pick for the bingo card, or my recommendation for the bingo card, was to read some trash. So trashy books are something I absolutely love, as you'll know if you watch the channel. So my bingo square on the booktuber bingo card is to read some trash. But what I've tried to do in my TBR is fulfill all of the other booktubers squares on the bingo card as well. So I will leave in a link in the description to the video to Leandra's announcement video, where you can see all of those other booktubers and what their suggestions for the bingo card were. So let me go through everything I'm going to read. There are 25 squares on that bingo card, so I've got 25 books. Well, there's a couple that I'm leaving blank for now, which I'll talk about. There are also 3 squares which are fulfilled by playing a TBR game, which I have done. So I filmed a clip of me getting my cat to choose a book and a couple of other TBR games as well. So I will insert that towards the end of this video so you can see how I chose some of the books. Okay, so the first book on my TBR is one that I'm also reading for a challenge I'm doing this year. So this is the BB25 challenge, which was started by MJ from the YouTube channel Reading This Life. So this is a challenge where during 2025 you try and read 25 books that have been banned or challenged. Book banning is not really something we do in the UK, and it feels like just an appalling thing to me, and also something which is almost always motivated by reasons other than the reasons that the people who are banning or challenging books give. So, standing up to it, shining a light on it, is something I really, really applaud. So the book I'm going to read for that also fulfills one of the booktuber bingo squares. That square is to read a book with LGBTQIA plus rep. So the book I'm going to be reading for that is In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. I've had that one for a while. Really looking forward to reading that. Next up then is a book which again fulfills another thing for me. So this is the pick for the CriminOlly book club, which is a book club I run with my patrons and channel members. So our January pick is another book I've had for absolutely ages, The Sister Brothers by Patrick DeWitt, which is a western which is supposed to be fantastic. So that also for the booktuber bingo card fulfills the historical fiction square. Next then, 3 books which I'm going to be reading as a buddy read with MJ from Reading This Life, which tick off various squares from the bingo card. So these are a trilogy of books from the Sweet Valley High series, which are vampire themed. So the first one is Tall, Dark and Deadly. So this is by the author is Kate William. It's Francine Pascal's name that is on the cover, as is always the case with these Sweet Valley High books, but it was actually written by Kate William. So that also ticks off the horror read square on the bingo card. So maybe not what many people would consider to be horror, but it is a vampire book, so I think that works. Next up then we have Dance of Death, which is the second in this vampire trilogy. So that ticks off the genre blend square. So this is genre blend in that it's a horror mystery romance, so I think a triple genre blend there. And then finally, for purple on the cover, so you can see it's got this nice purple band and very purple on the back. So this is the third book in that trilogy, which is Kiss of a Killer. Okay, next up then we have, so the next prompt is Animal on the Cover. So I've had this for a while. I read at least one of these books years and years ago and remember really enjoying it. Picked up a couple of them more recently. So this is The Cat Who Went Underground by Lillian Jackson Braun from her Jim Quilloran Feline Whodunit series. So a cosy cat mystery. So looking forward to giving that a try. Next up, then, we have read a book by a Latinx author. So I'm going to be reading one by probably my favourite Latinx author, actually, V. Castro, an author whose books I always enjoy. So this one I think is a slightly spicy one, Immortal Pleasures, which I've got digitally. So looking forward to giving that one a try. Next up, then, the next prompt is to read a sports romance. So I was racking my brains. Did I have any sports romances? And then I remembered I've got a box full of NASCAR Harlequin romances. So NASCAR, I think, counts as a sport. So I'm going to be reading The Comeback by Abby Gaines, which looks fab. So I've read a few of these NASCAR romances so far, and they've all been very entertaining. Next then, we have the most recent addition to my TBR. So this is a book I got for Christmas from my daughter. It's the novelisation of Terrifier 2 by Tim Waggoner. And what I should say is many of these books would fit multiple prompts. So this clearly would also work for the horror prompt. And in TBRathon, you can use one book to cover multiple prompts. I'm going to try and have a book for each prompt. But if I start struggling, if I run out of time towards the end of the month, then I may well put this in, use this for more than one prompt. So anyway, Terrifier 2 by Tim Waggoner. Next up then, we have a spooky TBR backlist book. So a book you've had for more than 2 years. So for that, I'm going with The Watchers by A.M. Shine, which I've had definitely for more than 2 years. I can't remember exactly how long. I think it came out in 2021, I want to say. Yeah, 2021. And I think I've probably had it since around then. So I've heard great things about this. So looking forward to giving that a try. Next, we have a book. The next prompt is a book by a Canadian author. And I had to Google, I Googled Canadian crime authors and couldn't find any that I had books by. I then Googled Canadian horror authors and found someone who's Canadian who I didn't realise. And that is Nick Cutter, whose real name is something Craig Davison, I think. So yes, I've had this copy of the Deep for ages. I've read another book by him, The Troop, which everybody seems to love, but I didn't think was all that great. But I am looking forward to reading The Deep anyway. I do like a good what's the word I'm looking for? A good underwater nautical horror type novel. So yeah, looking forward to giving that one a try. Next up then, we have a cosy read. So I'm going to revert back to my favourite cosy series at the moment, which is the Agatha Raisin series, and read the next one in that, which is Agatha Raisin and the Walkers of Dembley by MC Beaton, of course. So yeah, looking forward to getting back into the world of Agatha Raisin. Next, then we have read a middle grade book. So I've got a bunch of Goosebumps books digitally. So I'm going to read one that I've heard really good things about. It's one of those ones that everyone mentions as being one of the best Goosebumps books. That is Night of the Living Dummy, which of course is by R.L. Stine. Right, next on my list then, we have the three where I had to play the TBR game. So I'm going to insert the footage of that now, and you can see how you thought I did. Okay, I have no idea how successful this is going to be, so let's give it a go and see. So there are three prompts that I need to cover. So one is the die decide, so you roll a dice and pick a book randomly that way. The other one is pick pong. So pick pong is where you have a group of cups and you bounce a ping pong ball into the cup, and that helps you choose a book. Now, I don't have a ping pong ball, so I'm going to do it in a slightly different way. I'm going to lay the books on the floor and use my catnip carrot. I'm going to throw it up in the air and see which ball it lands on. And then the third one is pet pick. So I have with me, I don't know if she's going to cooperate. This is Venus. Say hello, Venus. So the other way is to get the cat to pick a book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do the cat pick first. I've got 8 books, so I'm going to put the 8 books on the floor, put a treat on each one and see if she picks one. I'm then going to throw the catnip carrot in the air and see which book that lands on, and that will leave me with 6 books to use the dice to decide for. Hopefully that makes sense. So these are the 8 books I've got. These are all books I've had for a while. So we've got Angel of Death by Jack Higgins, the British thriller writer. We've got Tokyo Swindlers by Ko Shinjo, which is a Japanese thriller that was sent to me for review a little while ago. We've got Enforcing the Poor by Diane Kelly, which is, I think, a couple of cosy mysteries involving a dog. We've got The Green Man of Eschwood Hall by Jacob Kerr, which I think I got in an Abominable Book Club box a while ago. Venus has found her treats and is eating them. So I have to get through this quickly. We've got Mischief in the Wood by Tina Rath, which again was sent to me a while ago from Haven Press to review. We've got Mycelia by JJ Lincoln, apologies, so Mycelia by JJ Lincoln, which was sent to me by the author a while ago with some tea bags. Then we've got Amalgam Hound, which is a light novel, which is by Midori Komai with illustrations by Domino Ozaki. So this looks really fun, actually. And then another book that was sent to me by the author, Sorrow Mouth by Simon Avery. I'm hoping the cat picks this one because I really do want to read this one, but we will see. So let me put the books on the floor before the cat eats all of her treats. So let me just show you as well. So the dice is from our edition of Catan. So I'm going to put the books on the floor and see if I can get the cat to pick one. Okay, so I've got the books laid out. The cat's annoyed because I've taken her treats away, so I've got those here. So I'm going to put those one on each book and see which one that she goes for first. I need to try and do it quickly so she doesn't realise what I'm doing. Pick a book. Oh, she's going with the Green Man of Ashwood Hall. So that's the one she's picked. So let's give her the rest of the treats so she can get out of the way. There you go. Let's move those off. Okay, next up, you can see why I don't do this sort of TBR game on the channel normally, can't you? So next up we have the catnip carrot. So what I'm going to do is toss this up in the air and we'll see which book it lands closest to. Oh, it looks like it's gone for Mycelia. So that is my second pick. So finally we have the die decides. So let me get a dice out of the turn. And try and roll this so you can see where it lands. Let me put the we'll just go in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I managed to mess that up the first time. Here is the dice. I'm going to roll it in this box. And we've got you can't see it, but it's a 1. So that means it's Tokyo Swindlers by Kojinjo. Okay, let me know in the comments if you think I should do ridiculous TBR games like that more often on the channel. I'm not sure how well that went. Anyway, next up is to read a translated read. So I'm going to read TNT Spiral of Death by Doug Masters. So this is from a series of men's adventure books that were originally published in French. I forget the name. It's 2 French guys who wrote them. I forget their names and they're not in here, I'm afraid. But yeah, they were published in the US under the pseudonym Doug Masters. I've read the first one. It was terrible. So I don't have high hopes for this, but we'll see what it's like. Next then, we have read a noughties novel, so a novel from that was published between 2000 and 2009. So I'm going to have one I've had digitally for ages. I think it was probably one of the first books I bought for my Kindle when I first got a Kindle, and that is The Crucifix Killer by Chris Carter, which is the first in a long-running series of kind of serial thriller killers. I have read one of the later ones in that series and didn't love it, but I do have a bunch of them, so I've been meaning to go back and try them. So I thought I would start with the first one, and it was published in kind of the mid-2000s, I think. Next then, we have a book by a new-to-you author. So for that one, I'm going to go with A Dark Corner by Celia Dale. So one of my subscribers, Erie, sent me a couple of Celia Dale books recently. I'd never heard of her, but it sounds like she wrote kind of, like domestic noir type books. So looking forward to giving that one a try. Next then we have a book by, whoops, my stack of books has just fallen over. We have a book by a beloved author. So as you will know if you watch the channel, my most beloved author is Ed McBain / Evan Hunter. So I've had this thriller by him, The Sentries, for a while, which I think is like more of a thriller than a mystery style novel, but looking forward to giving that a try. It's quite thick for an Ed McBain book. It's like 300 pages, which is twice as long as many of his books. But yeah, looking forward to trying that. Next then we have read a manga you've been dying to read. So for that one, I'm going to read a manga which I've heard loads of people praise. I had it in my head that this was kind of a cute, cosy manga, but when I checked on the Viz Manga app, which I've got, it's one of the ones that you can only read on their website rather than in the app, which I think means that it's quite extreme. So anyway, it's Good Night Pun. So yeah, looking forward to giving that a try. And then the final one that I've got a book for is read a book with a strong woman protagonist. So I'm going to read this classic. I don't know when did it originally come out. Originally came out in 1958. So a kind of noirish crime novel, The Vengeful Virgin, by Gil Brewer. So let me read you the blurb just to convince you it is about a strong female protagonist. Her wealthy stepfather was dying, but not quickly enough. What beautiful 18-year-old would want to spend her life taking care of an invalid? Not Shirley Angela, but that's the life she was trapped in until she met Jack. Now Shirley and Jack have a plan to put the old man out of his misery and walk away with a suitcase full of cash. But there's nothing like money to come between lovers, money and other women. So definitely feels like it's got a strong female protagonist. Fantastic cover as well. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And then the final two prompts, which I haven't picked out. Oh, another book's fallen off the bar. The final two books, which I haven't picked out, the final two prompts rather, which I haven't picked out books for, are a mood read. So that was Leandra's pick for the TBR square. It's the middle square in the bingo card. So I'm just going to play that one by ear, and if there's something I fancy reading during the month that's not on my list, I will pick that up and read that to cover that square. And then the final one is to read a book longer than the previous book you read. So I may kind of cheat and use that one, like double dip on that one, if you like, with one of the longer books I'm going to read, or I may just pick up a book that is longer. If I read a particularly short book, I may pick up another slightly longer book and read that to fulfill that one. So that is everything in my TBR for January. So I got to the end of filming this and realised I hadn't picked out a book for my own square on the bingo card, where the prompt is to read some trash. So for that, I've got one that I bought in a charity book sale in the supermarket a while ago. It's by an author who's best known for her crime fiction, but who also writes, or wrote at least, romance. That is Janet Evanovich, and the book is Smitten from the Love Swept line. So this looks very, very trashy. It's the pinkest book I've ever seen, I think, as well. So yeah, that's my pick for the Read Some Trash square. So I hope you found that interesting. Let me know in the comments if you're taking part in TBRathon. Let me know if there's any books in my TBR that you particularly like the look of. And as always, thanks very much for watching. I hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.